Yes, Richard, because this is not just a conflict, and calling it just a conflict is a misnomer, because this is an occupation that has been ongoing for 56 years. So very limited consideration for that, but also very limited consideration for the enduring trauma that also the Palestinians have in themselves, because while there is recognition for the tragedy that the Jewish people have lived through and through across centuries, that culminated in the horror of the Holocaust, there is very little recognition of what the Palestinians had endured as a people since 1947. And through the creation of the State of Israel. They were never allowed to come to a closure. And again, this is not about Hamas. This is really the Palestinian as a people, as they try to resist a violent occupation in the occupied Palestinian territory.
You know, there are but few countries in this world that when you go on saying things about them, people kind of don't find you pleasing. That people start hating on you. That people think that maybe you are not being honest or forthcoming. I have never seen a case being disputed like that of the Palestinians. I understand that whenever you bring a case from the Middle East or from Africa, most people in the West will just dispute it, will just say these are all false claims and they have no grounds and stuff like that. I understand that, but none has been disputed like the Palestinian cause. And in as much as people dispute it, I wonder why most of them are doing that. I wonder why they cannot do their own research. Or maybe they know quite all right what is going on, but they choose to deny it all the same. Because anyone, especially journalists, who are supposed to be neutral in any single case, who are supposed to tell the whole story without leaving parts out, who are supposed to be fair in their assessment of any situation, have become so one-sided in such a way that people really don't have hope in them anymore. Like, people think of them as being an arm of their respective countries or government. And that is why you would see, even when human rights organizations or people in charge of documenting human rights violations around the world bring forth their reports, journalists would be the first people to question those reports. And not just questioning it like trying to get the truth out of it, right? Because sometimes one might question something because one is trying to see if things have been added that were not supposed to be there, or things have been left out that were supposed to be there. One might come in with legitimate questioning that need answers. That is fair enough. That is really fair. And if people did that, if journalists did that, that would be excellent. But that's not it. They know the truth, but somehow they rather fit their audiences with what they want the audiences to know. They understand what is going on, but they want to twist the story. They want to dilute the story, or they want to, better still, murky the story. I want you to watch this interview done by Al Jazeera, Francesca Albanese, gave her accounts on what she has gone through in the hands of journalists and, and how journalists have been the first people to kind of like challenge her knowledge on what is considered genocide, war crime, or even apartheid. Let's watch.
There have been a few journalists who have really tried to do good job, good coverage, asking me sort of neutral questions to appreciate the facts. But mostly I've had a difficult experience with mainstream media in the West, because I found myself in the uncomfortable position of being challenged on how I would call things or how I would report on things.
No, it's not a trope, it's really real. So it seems not to understand what I'm saying. There is an apartheid regime. No, I'm serious. There is an apartheid regime. It's domination. This is not a trope. This is international law.
I mean, it was not my intention to challenge journalists, but it seems that they really wanted to challenge my way of looking at things, which I found disturbing. Because again, excuse me, but I'm here to report on things that I've analyzed, verified, triangulated, and yeah, I found it a bit surprising.
That relates to something that you've said about today's political landscape. You say it's marked by historical amnesia, traditional media plays a critical role in that, and that many people are living in an alternative reality. What do you mean exactly by that?
Yes, Richard, because this is not just a conflict, and calling it just a conflict is a misnomer, because this is an occupation that has been ongoing for 56 years. So very limited consideration for that, but also very limited consideration for the enduring trauma that also the Palestinians have in themselves, because while there is recognition for the tragedy that the Jewish people have lived through and through.
Okay, you guys have heard what she had to say, right? I believe that the reason she got that job was because she was skilled enough in handling whatever was required of her. The reason she has documented all the atrocities in the West Bank, every single thing that has been committed against the Palestinians in the West Bank, is because she has actually been there and she has seen this happen to the Palestinians firsthand. Do you remember when South Africa was under the apartheid and all the authorities in South Africa could do was just deny it? I have never seen any oppressor openly saying that they are oppressing the people who they are oppressing. I have never seen that. All what they will say is, we've never oppressed these people. We've let them live their lives. We've let them do whatever they like to do. We might have just guarded them, give them some guidance on what to do. But at the end of the day, their decisions are their decisions. That is what they will tell us. But we all know that is not the truth, right? We all know that is a big lie. No oppressor would ever say they are oppressing the people. It's the same thing in Occupy West Bank. Israel will always deny it. And why not? No authority, no government would accept it, right? They will all deny it. That is to be expected of it. But that's why we have these United Nations bodies. That's why we have human rights bodies. That's why we have all these independent NGOs. Their jobs is to strike a balance between what the government are telling us and what the people are actually going through. They are like the middleman between the government and the people. And most of the times, they will be fair in their assessment, because sometimes they might even take the position of the government rather than the people. So more too often, it will be difficult to see an organization siding with the people. They will most likely side with the government. That is why Francesca Albanese has been an exemplary figure in this whole quest for the freedom and total liberation of the Palestinians. She has made her report very known. And there's one thing about the United Nations, right? Even though these so-called rapporteur, they are like reporters, they assess the issue on the ground and then they report to the United Nations. They can only do that, right? They can only assess, build their case, and then submit to the United Nations. That is all. They cannot really reinforce anything. They cannot change anything on the ground. So whatever they see, they record it and they send. Their job is over. And that's why she has also been very frustrated on what has been going on at the United Nations. Because no matter what they say, nothing actually gets done. Yeah, not actually get done. Which is really sad. It's really, really sad. So my greatest hope is that world leaders will start thinking of a way forward for the Palestinian people. World leaders will realize that leaving Palestine or the Palestinian people in a limbo doesn't help any of us. They will realize that caging the Palestinians or caging the Gazians, keeping Gaza under a siege, only help to further Hamas' claim that Israel and the West is the enemy, and help in the recruiting of more jihadists or fundamentalists or terrorists for Hamas. The only way they can break down Hamas' narrative is to make sure that Gaza become a thriving city. The Gazians have something to do. The people living in Gaza have hopes, ambitions, and the directions like most of us do. If Gazians are being set up this way, I don't think any of them will believe what Hamas is saying. I don't think any of them will want to die for something that they think is worthless. I don't think any of them would want to go on killing Israelis. But if Israel or if the West keep on neglecting the plight of the people in Gaza or the Palestinians as a whole, this incident that happened on the 7th of October, not appreciating it, not condoning it, it was horrific, it was barbaric. It's a war crime. And those people who did it must be brought to book. They must be brought to book. But will happen again. Okay, will happen again. But you guys out there, what do you think about what the United Nations Special Rapporteur said in this video? Is she right? And if so, what could be done to resolve this Palestinian problem once and for all? Share that thought and opinion with us in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. Please subscribe to this channel because that helps us a lot and we shall forever be grateful to you. Thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.